IVM.
Hello one, hello all. Welcome to the Diary of the Traveling Professor. And I'm Siddharth Deshmukh, your friendly neighborhood traveling professor himself. What do I have in this diary entry of mine? Well, I call it the return of the office meeting. Ooh. Well, if you aren't scared, you should be. Well, if you're normal, that is. Most of us are actually particularly petrified of office meetings. We don't know how to handle them. During this lockdown period, we've had them being converted to Zoom, which has given us a bit of a respite because all the talk about how Zoom makes you more nervous because you can look at yourself in the camera and the rest of it is true, but it's still nowhere as stressful as much as an office meeting is. The one that you have in office when your boss is staring at you and your colleagues are staring at you and, your emotions are involved. And you're supposed to look smart, your body language has to be on point, and the rest of it. And in reality, not on a camera, guys. So the whole deal is, office meetings are stressful. And there are so many jokes around it. If you see Dilbert's comic strip, like Dilbert Land is full of office meeting bullshit. Now the whole deal is, I've been part of many bad meetings. They happen everywhere, guys. They happen in industry, they happen in academia, they happen in startups. So why do bad meetings happen? Why do bad meetings happen? Because the question that people try to solve is, how can we make a meeting good? And then you have all of these wonderful pieces of advice. Let's have stand-up meetings. Let's have meetings with agendas and the rest of it. And while they're all good, I still believe that unless and until we ask ourselves, why do bad meetings happen, we won't be able to avoid them. So here's the professor's deep take on why bad meetings happen. Hold on to your horses. The first is, let's ask ourselves, who are the people who actually enjoy meetings? Who are the ones who, and they're bosses, right? They're the people who are in control. They are the ones in power. But are they really? The fact is, the moment you start becoming a boss, what tends to happen is that you're given more and more responsibility that's actually not in your hands. You're totally, completely dependent on your team. And the more you rise up the monkey chain, the lesser power you have, but the more responsibility you have. Meetings, therefore, give any person in a place of power, and you might be one. You might be one. In some situation or the other, every one of us has been in a situation of power, or a boss, or something like that. This gives us, the meeting that is, an illusion of control. And this illusion of control is incredibly important because it allows us to feel, yeah, I'm in charge here. Everything's going hunky-dory, and the rest of it. Nobody else is feeling that way, and everybody else perhaps might be thinking it's a waste of time. And that is one of the main reasons why bad meetings happen. It is the illusion of control that the person in charge wants to actually experience. Here's the second reason why bad meetings happen. It's when you are not in power but want to belong. You want to participate. You want to earn brownie points. So therefore, what's tending to happen is that your competitive spirit and your spirit of wanting to rah it along with your boss. Okay, I will not get into, other adjectives over here, but you know what I mean. The fact is, all of us have wanted to participate, have wanted to belong, and have wanted to impress people in a meeting. All of us are human. The fact also remains that it is exactly the reason why meetings go off agenda at times, go off on tangents, and everyone's wondering what is going on over here and why am I sitting over here listening to this fool rant on? Well, if you've been one of those fools, you need to remember, wanting to belong, participate, and trying to earn brownie points or trying to remain competitive, one of the main reasons why bad meetings happen. And the third reason, and which is most common, especially in a time when probably you are moving from one meeting to the other all the time, is that you're just not prepared. You're not prepared and you feel drained. You feel drained moving from one meeting to the other and you're just absolutely unprepared. So you're not really boned up on the homework that you're supposed to do before the meeting is happening. This actually reminds me, you know what, funnily enough, it reminds me of how students, my students, everybody's students, do not read case studies before they come into my class. So what do I do in my class? What I do is that I actually donate 10 to 15 minutes of my class time and get everyone to read the case study. Because to be honest, that's all it takes to read the dratted case study. And then everyone has a much more nuanced and fruitful discussion. So the donation of my time, my class time, my precious class time to everyone reading a case study is actually very worth it. In fact, if I move back to meeting mode and think about what Amazon has done, I've heard that Amazon actually ensures that people read up a document in silence after gathering around the meeting table or whatever the hell it is at Amazon. I haven't been there. I've just heard, but it's a good idea nonetheless. You're reading a document in silence before you start the meeting. Now, I think if this is actually practiced, probably leads to very, very, very good results, because people are going to utilize their brains, their prefrontal cortices, if that's such a word, and actually be able to contribute in a much better sort of situation. But let me ask you, have you ever been to a good meeting? You know, have you ever been to a good meeting not feeling drained, but actually feeling excited about the future? And then you will have to really rack your brains, isn't it? You'll have to rack your brains and try to figure out, when was the last time I actually felt this way? And then you'll actually put a date on it. And then you'll remember the people who were in the room. And then you'll remember what happened. And then it will be so memorable. So why do we have, such a few number of these memorable encounters? Why can't we have more of them? Paradoxically enough, if you reduce the amount of meetings that you have in terms of the frequency of meetings or in terms of the time taken for each meeting, you might end up actually having more memorable meetings, more meetings that you'll remember, that energized you when you walked out of the room, which reminded you of the reason why you are belonging to that workplace, which reminded you of what a good team you have, and the rest of it. So paradoxically, my suggestion to all of you guys, and something that I live by myself, is the best way to have a good meeting is to have very, very, very few of them, and to make sure that the meetings that you go to really count. Well, I hope you like this diary entry of mine. I know it's about a little bit about office politics and the rest of it. And I do get all serious on LinkedIn, where you can follow me as the Traveling Professor. But if you want to have a funny side of it, then there's Instagram, of course. I'm the Traveling Professor there. What else? Yeah. And also, if you want to have a conversation or join in the conversation rather with me and some industry experts, I'm there doing something called Tell Me About It, which is a YouTube channel. I hope that you like podcasts like these, because if you like them, there's many more on ivmpodcast.com, or just download the app. Until next time then.
I hope you enjoyed that show. I'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Paytm Money and Intel. So, been a really exciting week on the network this week. We've had some really cool stuff. My old friend Vivek Lad was on Storytellers and Storysellers. Definitely do check that out. On Cyrus Said, we had Ashwin Sanghi on Thursday's episode, and Cyrus and myself did a cock and bull, just the two of us. That was fun as well on Monday. Do check that out. Masaba was on Advertising is Dead, which was another really, really strong episode from Varun. And on the sports front, both Edges and Sledges, Football Shitball had some really fun episodes. That's the Football Twaddle. Do check those out as well. And if you haven't been paying attention and you haven't been listening to Smile India in these times, I don't know why you aren't. It's the most uplifting show that you could listen to. It's a short, bite-sized piece of really positive things that happen in India. Do definitely check that out. And with that, we hope to see you again next week.
Advertising is dead. Yep, you heard me right. Advertising is dead. We're all in the content business now. Let's not call it news, TV, radio, etc., etc. It's all content, and we're in the middle of this weirdly exciting phase where all the borders and lines that have been drawn over decades has been swept away by this lovely thing called the internet. We're a show where we don't dwell on just the stuff that is now, but rather the wider stuff about advertising, media, content, and the whole goddamn circus surrounding it. Tune in every Tuesday for our weekly unboxing of the mystery box we used to call advertising. I'm Varun Dugirala, co-founder and content chief at The Glitch, and this is my new podcast, Advertising is Dead.